Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Stitching Tales. I am Johanna Lundström, the author of several sewing books, including Sewing Jeans and Fit for Knits. And I also do video sewing courses and run a YouTube channel under the name The Last Stitch.
And my name is Malena Hjerpe, and I work as a freelance pattern maker, and I also create my own PDF patterns under the name Hazelhen Patterns.
And in today's episode, we're going to look into the future, right, Malena? We are going to do some predictions for 2025. We are no gurus, but we have done our research. So we're going to offer some trend forecast and perhaps look into AI and what that can mean for the sewing community and perhaps what we see in the future in regarding sewing and fashion in general. But first of all, I thought it would be nice to do a little bit of a weekly catch-up. So Malena, what's been going on since we recorded our last episode?
Well, I have got my Tauco magazine. So nice to actually have something we work with digital products, so it's so nice to actually have a physical product for once. And actual paper patterns.
Yeah.
So it has been really, it's been so nice to look through this magazine. And as you can see, it's like, high editorial coffee table book kind of look, kind of vibe. So I'm really so excited about that. Yeah,
the front cover looks amazing. And I love the colorways with the yellow and the blue. Yeah, I totally get that validation. I mean, it is, sometimes it's very easy for us because we do a lot of digital stuff, but having something to hold in our hands. And it's also inspiration, right, for upcoming next sewing book, because we're also going to include paper patterns for the first time, you and I as well. So it's nice. It's like a little feeling of what we are going to create in the future together. So congratulations. I'm so excited for you. And it's so nice also to have seen the photos of the community group, or that they have sewn your Nepeta dress. Is so nice and so inspirational to see, and all the versions and fabric choices are really, really pretty.
Yeah, it's so much fun to see how everybody is making it into their own. I mean, one made a sleeveless version of it. One did a blouse version, and really, really beautiful fabric choices, and someone did some really nice decorations on the sleeves, and it's just so fun to see same pattern, how it can turn out different ways, and just people's creativity. It's been so much fun to see, and I've shared that on my Instagram as well. Reposted them, so you can have a look there if you want to see.
Absolutely. We're definitely going to post some images on our Stitching Tales pod Instagram account as well. Yeah, congratulations. I mean, as we talked about in the last episode, it's been almost a year in the making from, you first thinking up the idea and submitting into the pattern magazine, and now it's finally here. So it must feel really, really validating.
Everything goes so fast in the fashion industry, and yes, that is true. But at the same time, it's a long process as well. So and it's a good thing that things can also take its time. So that's it's really so fun to actually see the final product now. And you, Johanna, you also have some exciting, not news, but something to share.
Yeah, because I says, if you follow the podcast, I keep talking about my Sewing Jeans video course, and I'm in the final throes of finishing that off right now. And that's a hard slog. I'm basically working days and evenings and weekends, just finishing everything up so I can release the course in February. And sometimes it feels a little bit how you feel like you're doing something in a void in a way. You have no idea, you don't always feel validated for the stuff that you do. But anyways, yesterday morning I woke up to a very kind email telling me that Mimi Gee, which I would say is probably the most famous sewing personality in our community. She's an American, she has her own sewing pattern line, and she writes sewing books, and she has a huge YouTube channel. Definitely a name that I think pretty much anyone will recognize if they're familiar with the sewing community. And she had done a YouTube video on her channel where she talked about 5 sewing books that she recommended. So the email from that wonderful person kindly informed me that Mimigi had mentioned my book Sewing Jeans, which is incidentally what my video course is based upon. So I felt like that was like a sign from something. And she said
definitely.
she said really kind things about my book, and she mentioned 5 books in the video, I think. I will link to that video in the description section of this episode, and she mentioned my book first as well, which also felt really, really good. And also lots of people in the comment section also said some really kind and appreciative things about that book. And that's probably because I've written 4 sewing books so far. And, it's a journey. I mean, my first book, Sewing Activewear, I learned basically the craft. For people that don't know, this is the fact that I don't just write the sewing books, I also do all the photos, I do all the graphic design, illustrations, everything.
And you don't have a publishing company behind
you? No, I also run my own publishing company. Yeah, so I have to figure out how to get the books on Amazon using a distributing network. So it's been
the printers and everything.
Everything, exactly. And getting all that logistics, worldwide. It's been a massive headache, to be honest, but I figured it out. And I managed to print the books on really good quality paper at a great printer here in Europe. Anyways, so a long story short, so it's been like development. I felt my Sewing Jeans, which is the 3rd book of 4 books so far, I felt that was where I really nailed all the bits on how to produce a really good sewing book on my own. So that was really, really validating. I feel also the 4th book that we did together, Fit for Knits, it's even better in terms of how to do a very effective teaching layout. So it's been really I feel pride. Sewing Jeans, where I felt like, okay, Johanna, now you got this. The 2 first books are good, but I feel like there was some room for improvements. I'm the first to admit, even though the information is solid, I still had to learn a few things about making really good sewing books. That felt amazing, actually. Yeah,
and that's so nice also to the person who emailed you, because we don't know we can't physically, it's impossible to keep track of what everyone is saying. So when somebody takes the time and actually reach out to you and inform you about this, that is so nice of that person to do, because of course we want to know these kind of things, and we maybe don't know them. So it's so great that somebody actually took the time and emailed you this.
Yeah, thank you so much. And if you're listening here and hear anyone ever mention me and Malena, please email us.
No, but I had that also with the Malva t-shirt, that somebody talked about it on a YouTube channel, and somebody else mentioned that, I found your pattern through this and this YouTube channel. And I had no idea. She didn't tag me or anything in. I don't know if you even can do that on YouTube. But anyway, it is so nice. It's so kind when somebody, well, first of all, mention you, but also informs you that you were mentioned here and here. That's really a big thanks to the community.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Fangirl moment here.
Yeah,
Wow.
I know.
Oh, this is so nice.
It's so interesting because you have this moment, and I'm a pretty a pretty big sewing YouTuber. I would say that without sounding like bragging, because as you reach
you have the play button now.
I do have the silver play button, right? But this is this is getting from a completely different level in terms of fame and recognition compared to me, which is like a small time player in comparison. That's and it feels extremely validating. So I agree with you, Malena. It's very, very helpful because we're not everywhere as well, and usually we're buried in work. We're deep down in work, so we don't always are able to consume so much ourselves because we have to do all the other stuff. So it's really hard to keep track of everything. So incredibly grateful. I will say that, and I've said it before, and I think the sewing community is incredibly supportive, and I think that is one of the key to the fact that a lot of people has been able to to like really get out there and reach more people and everything, because there is a solid supportive system. Even though sewing has become more and more popular, I feel still that this community is quite close knit in a way. Yeah, it's incredible. I'm very, very grateful for it.
Yeah, so true.
So right there, Malena, are you ready to bring out your crystal ball and look into the future of 2025? We did a little bit of forecasting last year, but now we're definitely going to go out there and be brave, right? So don't take our word for gospel. We could be completely wrong. We're amateurs, but we love doing this. So what should we start with, Malena? Should we talk a little bit about fashion trends to start with and see if that can be translated to the sewing community, perhaps?
Yeah. Have you noticed any like specific trend or
yes, I actually went and looked through lots of different like fashion magazines and basically called it a top trend list of several things that was like reoccurring on several lists, and one I will bring that in. I will take that for the last. I think that's going to be happy news for you, Malena, but we'll see. Ooh, yeah, okay. Now, the first thing which I think I'm starting to notice, but that is animal prints. That's huge. That's on every trend list, especially like leopard prints and zebra prints and things like that. So what is your take, Malena, on those animal prints to wear on your body?
Well, I mean, it's not my cup of tea, but yeah, I mean, go for it. And here's the thing, like with those kind of trends, like, have they ever been untrendy? Like, I think like every 3-4 years, like now, animal prints is like so big. Like, I've been 16 years in the fashion industry. I've heard that quite often. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, were they out? Sorry? Did I miss the out parts? Like, yeah, I mean, it's always somewhere that is in. So yeah, no, I agree. It's there. Definitely. Still
there.
They're going strong.
You bring out a good point there, because I think there was a while, maybe back in the 90s, where there was a pushback towards animal prints, because it was like a thing of the 80s, and it was seen a little bit like tasteless or a little bit tacky. But I totally agree with you that we have seen iteration, and sometimes it's more of simplified. So maybe there's a leopard print, but it's very minimalistic and not in the leopard colors. Maybe it's like gray or pink or blue, because I've seen that on sweatshirts, for instance. So I think the interpretation of the prints, that might differ. But as you say, I totally agree with you. It's a constant thing. I think maybe now it's getting bigger than ever, for sure. I think that's why it's on every list. I don't wear it. I will say though that I don't really wear it much myself either. But who knows? Maybe next in the summer I'm gonna rock some leopard prints. We'll see. Stay tuned. Watch the video version of this pod to find out.
Yeah, I have a little bit of the same finding. Spots, dots, polka dots, they are apparently back in trend now, like really big. And again, I had the same feeling here, like, oh, they were out? I didn't know. But yeah, I mean, for me, dots are like such a classic print. It comes and goes, bigger, smaller, every now and then. But I mean, they're always, I think it's a classic.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that brings me up to another thing that was also on a lot of lit, stripes. I mean, have stripes ever been untrendy? I mean, we are both wearing stripes today, if you're watching the video version, because that's how we roll. And in Sweden, stripes has never been out of style, to be honest.
No, I mean, that's a classic one.
It's more like basic color stripes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like even a print. It's like what you wear every day in Sweden, from when you're newborn until you basically end up in the grave. That's where you wear stripes. So I don't think we never stop wearing stripes in Sweden or in the Nordic countries, I would say, in general. No. The only thing I would say about both the animal prints and the polka dots and the stripes, what I've seen is that the trend now is to wear a lot of it. So you maybe wear stripes on stripes and polka dots on polka dots and different prints. So I think it's more perhaps of a bold statement. So maybe you wear a vertically striped shirt and then you wear a horizontal striped t-shirt underneath, or maybe you wear those, which has been really popular for a while in Sweden, but it's also trend thing, the pajama pants. I mean, we've seen that for years in Sweden. I mean, every kid is wearing like plaid pajama pants to
flannel
school.
pajama pants.
Yeah. So I'm like, is this a trend now? I mean, we have seen this. I mean, when have it's, but that's a thing too. I think plaids has also been on a lots of lists. So I think if you do love, any type of patterns, this is the year for you. And you can now really go out on a limb if you want to feel trendy and just, wear your pajama pants to your job. We can't guarantee that it will be well received, but I mean, keep up with the kids and start wearing pajama pants all days.
No, but the funny thing is also, like, I think it is literally pajama pants. It's not like a fashion take on pajama pants, like they made them look like it's actually pajama pants that they are wearing.
Yeah. Sometimes when I go on the bus in the morning, I see all the kids like wearing those plain pajama pants, like such a nice way. You don't have to get dressed in the morning. You just roll out of bed and put on a jacket, and then you're set for the day.
Yeah, very, very comfy trend.
Yeah. And it seems that comfort does seem to still be a thing, with softness and stuff like that as well. And one trend, but again, I feel like this is always a trend, but it now says, was Everlift, like elevated at leisure. So, I mean, workout clothes as day wear is still a massive trend. And I guess the only difference now is that they talk a lot about like tracksuits and color blocking. So I think it's going to be more of a colorful, like 80s trend to me a little bit. So have you seen this in your day job or any type of like...
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that like the sporty trend, I mean, again, like they have been talking about it for, I don't know, 10 years or something. So it's not a new trend. It's always maybe a new take every new season. But that is going strong. And I think especially after the pandemic, with most of the people working from home, being able to wear really comfortable clothes at home, we never really wanted to leave that comfy stage. So I think that comfort is key. But it's not a new trend at all. Like we have seen this for a long time.
Yeah. I totally agree, and I don't think we will see this go anywhere. I mean, and it's interesting. I mean, today especially they can coexist. I mean, as a complete opposite from that is also a huge trend of like having oversized blazers and dress pants on female identifying people, which is the complete opposite. So tailoring is also super hot, and to wear like a tracksuit jacket with a regular skirt is also hot. So it's it's all over the place.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I mean, there are so many different trends, sub-trends, sub-genres or whatever. So it feels like a little bit like you can find whatever you want as long as you keep looking for it. Yeah.
Do you have any other trends that you have noticed or seen on list?
I've also seen like they talk about structures, like different fabric structures, and like tweed boucle, like all like that Chanel jacket feeling. But again, also nothing new there. I mean, haven't been seeing that since the Chanel jacket, basically. Like that has come and gone, like I don't know how many times. So yeah, new. I don't know. And I mean, it's always different structures, obviously. But yeah, structure as a trend, nothing new there either.
Yeah, it's just different interpretation. I mean, on similar trends again. But over time, you can definitely see that we are shifting the way we are dressing somewhat over the years. So we so far we covered pretty safe trends. So but do have a few more challenging ones.
Yeah, and this one more, because these have been a lot about how the fabric looks. Do you have any have you spotted anything like silhouette, like actual garment trends?
Yeah,
because I think that's a kind of interesting thing for our sewists.
Yeah, I think one is definitely something that I think is a bit of divisive look, and that is the barrel jeans. Do you know what I mean? The jeans that has rounded outer seams, so it almost looks like a balloon shape, which a balloon shape is also a trendy thing right now. So when speaking of silhouettes, the balloon silhouette, which is not conventional, body following, instead it's mostly more the opposite, that it kind of accentuates the thighs and the hips, for instance. And I think that's a trend that I've seen a lot, and a lot of like big denim brands are doing versions of the barrel jeans. Now, I don't think that this is going to be a mainstream trend, but it's definitely a different silhouette that kind of stands out. Literally, it's almost like the jeans are structured from the inside, because it stands out so much. I have no idea how get that denim fabric to keep that balloon shape.
I think it's like very rigid fabric, like it can't be any soft wash on it or anything, like it has to be more a very structured fabric that stands up on its own, basically. But I've seen that trend as well, and I don't remember which pattern it is now, but I've seen like a lot of sewists have made there are a few PDFs pattern on that silhouette as well, so it's been I've noticed this as well.
Yeah, and it's going to simmer down a little bit. I think the more exaggerated barrel will probably not go mainstream, but I think you will see a little bit more like rounded shapes overall. I think we're going to embrace maybe in a skirt or a dress or something like that as well, for sure. And another one, which is probably not, I love it, but that's probably I'm a minority, at least in my age, but I'm going to read the headline now, which is hot pants as the new miniskirt.
All right, you need to explain a bit here.
Yeah, so I would first say I think it was Prada or Miu Miu, which is the same, basic company. They were, I think for the last year or something like that, on catwalks, people were basically wearing like wide panties instead of anything that was covering the legs, and now that trend seems to have taken hold. I've seen that trend forecast in several of the sites, but that can be interpreted in a different way. So that doesn't mean you can do whatever you want, but it doesn't necessarily mean like wearing knickers with a sweater like it was on the runway. But what I love, and I've not maybe I think there are probably sewing patterns for this as well, but I have one pair that I bought at Zara. It's the skirt, the mini skirt, which is basically a shorts with a front panel, so it looks like a skirt. So it's so nice. You can wear because I love mini skirts, and I'm in my 50s and I still love mini skirts. I'm definitely on the short side as well, so when I buy ready to wear, it's very helpful for me to use really short skirts, and so this is something I personally love. And if I would felt that this was a bigger market for my demographic, I would definitely launch a short mini skirt pattern. But I honestly don't think that the target audience is big enough for this like very niche wear. But I am a huge fan. So I think if you're going to be more of a more accessible, I think that mini skirt is definitely a trend we're going to see more and more.
But it's such a smart garment, actually. I mean, it's so convenient to have shorts instead of a skirt or a combination of it, because I mean, you don't accidentally flash anyone with the mini skirt if you have shorts. So in that sense, it's great.
Yeah, and it also keeps you much warmer, because mine is made with like a wool gabardine. So the fact that it's a double layer makes it also much warmer to wear in the winter. So I can still wear it with like wool stockings and feel pretty comfortable. So I say yay for the skirt. We'll see if that's going to take off. Which brings me to another trend. Perhaps you've seen this as well, which is a throwback to the 90s. Do you know what I'm talking about? Which is the No, the skirt over pants trend.
Oh, that one, yeah. Yeah. Been there, done that in the 90s. I mean, I've seen it also, like different 90s take on like the slip dress on top of the t-shirt on top of the trousers. Like, yeah, definitely variations of it has been, I mean, for a while now. Yeah, I mean, I can so relate to my mom now when I was young in the 90s, and she was like saying, oh my god, I used to wear exactly like this in the 70s. And I'm like, Mom, you're so embarrassing. And yeah, here we go. I can relate.
Yeah. I think we're going to succumb to this trend. I think this is something, because it's such a accessible trend. I think we may feel so. We're going to see some long tunics or something like that to wear on top of. Yeah, it feels a little bit odd to me as well, but because I was also, when that trend hit, I was pretty grown up, so I wasn't really into it. But and I've seen lots of garments now that are like the skirt. It's sewn with the same fabric, so it's not like you put your slip dress over a pair of jeans, which you did in the 90s. It's more like the pants, and then it's over a short skirt made with the same fabric. So if you want to be like really trendy right now, that would be the key garment I would sew in 2025. Then you're going to be ahead of the trends. Trust us.
Yeah, and I mean, this is also like a little sub-trend of the bigger trend, like layering. I mean, it's always different layers. And I really do love that trend, because also, I mean, having a shorter tunic or shorter dress, longer tunic on top of a pair of trousers, I mean, that's so great. I mean, it's so convenient. And if you don't want to have... It can be quite revealing sometimes to have like skinny trousers, but then having a tunic on top of it, I mean, then I feel more comfortable in that as well. So, I mean, you do it into your own interpretation. Layering is always great, I think.
Yeah, it's so nice way to keep warm as well in the winter when we have colder climates. Layering, when you do that into a fashion statement, and it also feels like a function.
Yeah, definitely. I saw so many nice pictures on... I think it was from the men's Milano Fashion Week, when the like gentlemen's were really like layering, like layers upon layers, and it looked just so comfortable because it was cold, and was like, yeah, thanks you, a wearable trend, like great. That's I can get behind that every day.
Yeah, same. Love myself a little bit of layering. And you mentioned something in passing now, which, because if you listen to this podcast, you have probably heard me say that skinny jeans, forget about it. Go wide. And that is the main trend when it comes to jeans. Wide leg jeans, the barrel we talked about, flare jeans, bootcut jeans. It's all wide or at least straight leg jeans. But however, on the big news television station CNN, they had their own trend forecast, and Malena, one of the one of those big trend forecaster persons says the return of the skinny jeans. Has it ever gone away? I think Malena's saying now.
Yeah, exactly. No, but this is as I mentioned, I've been in the fashion world for quite a few years now. And you see so many trends comes, goes, maybe some quickly, maybe some are sticking around for 10 years. And here's the thing, like people have barely cleaned them out from the closet and donated it into charity shops before they are like back again. So yeah, I just sit still, steady, watch a trend come and go. It's like, yeah, I'll have my wardrobe that I have and like, and I'm gonna stick to that.
Yeah, I think that's a solid idea, and it's also the most sustainable approach to it. But I would just read the quote here from the fashion analyst that we expect to see a very slow burn return in 2025 for the skinny jeans, said Susie Draffon, VWGSN senior denim strategist. That's also a job. We're definitely in an early signal testing territory here, but this season, skinny jeans increased on the spring-summer catwalks for the first time in years. However, she says, don't get too overexcited. It's important to contextualize. This data uptick is from a tiny base, because wide leg jeans very much remain the dominant silhouette.
Yeah. It's interesting. I am looking forward to when the chinos trend are big again, or I don't know if it's, I mean, that's such a classic as well, so you can always have them. You're not out if you have chinos. But like those a little bit more tapered silhouette, that's my absolute favorite silhouette. Also like on office wear, like, not slacks, what do you say that silhouette? Cigarette pants.
Yeah.
Like those kind of, not tight, but a little bit more
cigarette pants.
Yeah, that's my absolute favorite silhouette of trousers, because it's not. Yeah, I don't know. Understand how like sit down in skinny jeans when you have an office work. You sit down for 8 hours a day. It's so uncomfortable. I can't do it. No, I totally agree with you. I think those are my pants, and I that's so good about sewing, because I always sew these pants, and I think we mentioned in the previous podcast when I have this Berda cigarette pattern, I probably made like 5 pair of pants just using different adaptations of pocket styles and cuffs and things like that, and I just keep returning to that. And those kind of patterns, if you have one that fit well, I don't think you could ever go wrong, because as you say, the taper look, because it's not skin tight, so it still has some ease, but still a very classic silhouette. I mean, think like the 50s. It's just a thing that keeps coming back. I think the only difference is a little bit like the fit and the width of the hem. So I totally agree with you. I think if that could be like a wardrobe staple that it might sometimes not like high fashion, but I don't think you'll ever feel like you're wearing something that feels really not
off.
Untrendy,
no.
Like
exactly.
I mean, it's such a classic look, and it has been for as you said, from the 50s. So no, you can't go wrong with them. So that's my absolute love trousers.
Yeah, same. Love them. Like maybe we should do a sewing pattern for that instead. We'll see. There's a long list, but as you know, loyal listeners of this podcast, when we have an idea, it might take a couple of years to actually make it happen.
10 years, but they will come.
They will come. Just enough time when it's trendy again.
Exactly.
Do you have any more trends on your list?
Not specific. I have also I have such a hard time like pinpointing like that's a silhouette trend, or like I'm a pattern maker, not a designer. I need to understand the designer's vision, but I don't. I have a little hard time sometimes seeing the trends and especially being on trends. So no, I don't have any more like specific garment trends. I'm a little bit wondering the blouse trend that has been going on now for a year or two, with the tie bows at the front
that we talked about in another episode.
Yeah, with the puffy sleeve. That's like a trend that is so specific. So I wonder how long is that gonna live on, because the more spot on trend specific to a year or something, the more untrendy it will be or feel in a few years. So I'm wondering like how long is that trend gonna be? I mean, I think it's cute. I'm not dissing the trend. I'm just wondering, is that one that is gonna peak and then drop pretty soon, or is it gonna be more of a classic trend for the future? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's definitely something that it probably already had reached its peak. I think we're going to see iteration this summer as well, because we mentioned it last year, and I said, if you want to do one sewing pattern this year on trend, do that blouse. Perhaps there are probably already several sewing patterns doing that, but I totally agree with you. It's such a specific type, and also it's a little bit limited in the audience, I think, for that kind of style, because it's basically just 3 ties that you bind together into bows. So you have lots of underneath showing through. So it's a very specific style that doesn't really work in a lot of situations, and depending also, it's a lightweight blouse fabric. So I don't know how suitable it's for layering. I mean, it's just such a specific summer style. So I think it, in a way, it's kind of classic because it has a lot of nods to vintage styles. But I totally agree with you. I will give it one more summer, and then you're probably going to see a lot of it in the second-hand shops and stuff.
Yeah, and I think blouses in general has had a really, I mean, now in the sewing community, it has been like lightweight woven blouses, I think, has been really popular. I mean, very different styles. But blouses in general has been, I've seen a lot of sewing patterns for them, and a little more of those loose, airy, quite a lot of plus ease. So there are a lot of different patterns on those, and really, I mean, nice looking patterns.
Yeah, they remind me a little bit, now we're going to bring out an old reference, but Laura Ashley in the 80s, she had a lot of these like flower prints, volume dresses with almost like a prairie vibe to it. And I think we're seeing a lot of that style. That's definitely, I agree with you, in the sewing community, that's been a massive trend. I think, honestly, more in the sewing community than I would say on the streets of Sweden, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, the prairie dresses as well, with a lot of volume and gatherings has also been, I think, more trending in the sewing industry compared to the regular outside ready-to-wear garments.
The street fashion. They sometimes they align and sometimes they take on different. And I think it's also, because speaking of sewing, because sewing is also so much, a love of fabric, and these kind of trends, they offer like a really nice variety of beautiful fabrics, both say in rayon prints and cotton lawn like Liberty Lawn and similar prints. So if you're a print lover like myself, doing that kind of styles is a way of really using those beautiful fabrics in a way. And I think as a consumer of ready to wear, you don't really think that way in the same way, because you don't, I mean, obviously you find prints that you like, but you don't feel more inclined to that beauty of, a beautiful fabric and being able to express yourself with your fabric choices. So I think that's a good call there, that sewing fashion trends that also align with the ability to using beautiful fabrics, it's going to be a stronger trends for us
definitely.
Who sew.
Yeah, and it's also like the perfect garments, like loose blouses and loose dresses, white dresses, perfect for those lightweight woven fabric that doesn't have any stretch but maybe has quite nice drape, because making a more tight fitted shirt, you're gonna have a lot of fitting issues on them if there doesn't have any stretch or anything. Like, the fitting has to be so precise to your specific body, so it is quite a lot of work to get those more tight silhouettes to look nice in non-stretchy wovens. But for these kind of blouses, dresses, I mean, it is a perfect match for that kind of a fabric. And that kind of fabric is also really nice to sew in.
Yeah, so, it's one of the most easiest fabrics, especially if you use the cotton one, the lightweight cotton lawn fabric. They are a dream to sew. I mean, rayon is a little bit trickier, woven rayon, but yeah, absolutely. And also, if you can omit like technical stuff like more collar stands and darts, again, if you use a lot of gathers, again, it's usually easier to sew. The finishing is not as challenging, I think, than compared to sew like a regular dress shirt.
Yeah, definitely. One trend that I have, or again, this is not a trend, but and I've also seen like the opposite trend that I want to talk about, like the positive trend, sustainable sewing. Talk a lot about it, and I mean, fantastic. And I think like in the general like fashion industry or fast fashion industry for the last 10 years, like it has been so much talk about it, like how bad it is. And I think companies really started to shape up about it. Like, no, but we have like decent work, or we code of ethic, code of conduct, like those kind of things on your suppliers. Like you have quite high demands on them. So I've seen like a big shift in the fast fashion industry, which is really positive, and also like customers are more aware of like this overconsumption. It's not good for the environment, and how can it be so cheap? Like something is going to be wrong.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a general awareness that this is not sustainable. It's not workable. We need to do better. And then enters Temo and Shane, and what happened? I'm so like, it pisses me off. To be honest, it pisses me off. What happened? It's like, did we forget about the sustainability aspect of everything? And like, we say fast fashion, those are like, it's so cheap. How can people get paid fairly? They don't, first of all. We all agree about that in the fashion industry. We are working on raising that, but we don't own the suppliers. We are not paying the salary, unfortunately, so we can't control that. But garments are even cheaper. Like, did we forget about? And I think like, I'm not like dissing the sewing community now. I think we are all very aware of this. But the general public, like, corners are being cut if things are so cheap. Come on. It
do the math as a consumer. And I mean, and I think that's a good thing about us who sew, because even though we may not be exactly familiar with the economics of producing a garment, we do understand the difficulties of actually producing a garment, and these are not robots doing it. So if you're sewing a dress shirt or a jacket, you know, it's people doing all the things that we are doing at home. You know, there are no magic. Of course, they have better equipment and more like streamlined techniques, but overall, it's manpower, it's man hours to create the garments, regardless whether you're buying it in a store or if you sew it. So that's, I think I feel that as well, and I always try to communicate this with people that are not familiar with sewing to understand. And it's the same when people ask me to sew something. I try to explain, you know, how long it actually takes, and it takes a lot of time. So obviously, I mean, so we do have, and I think that could be a good idea, I think, for anyone listening now, and I'm sure you already do this, but we have a unique position in that way, that we do understand the sewing process. So, you know, sometimes why not bring it up in like, it doesn't have to be in an offensive manner, but, you know, bring out the discussion and talk a little bit about your craft, so people don't be proud of it. So people don't think that, you know, you're
behind it.
So that people don't think that you crank out, you know, your beautiful garments in 30 minutes. Because if you talk about it, perhaps that could also, you know, improve the understanding how the workers' conditions are, and the fact that these are doing this for absolutely minimal pay under awful working conditions. And I think we have to all, you know, be aware of this, and I think it's something that it's important to address. So I definitely think that we have actually a good position to be able to be part of that dialogue.
And like the setup between like a fast fashion and these kind of companies, they are a little bit different. So like, I mean, in fast fashion, we can buy a collection in advance, place them in store, sell them, whatever it's not sold, we have to put it on sale to get rid of, like. But these kind of companies, you buy and the supplier ships them directly to you, more or less. So it's a little bit different setup. And in this way, like, yes, it's good, because then they don't have to buy this huge order that maybe are not being sold. It's more a little bit on demand kind of production, which in one way is good, because this waste is not created, because there are not garments then that are not being sold. Like, of course, there are always a little bit of that, but not like these huge volumes. But when it's used in a way that be able to be fast on trend and always new is like the overconsumption, then it's like, then it's used in so wrong way. And I just want to, like, a good thing to talk about also to maybe people that are not really aware of this is that when a brand sells something, they are responsible to follow all the law, the restrictions, safety protocols, and everything for that product. But when the supplier ships it directly to the customer, who is responsible then? That the product is actually safe? Because different countries have different laws and regulations about these kind of things. And how are they keeping track of that then? I mean, when I work for H&M, for example, we have especially for children's, where then it's like so many restrictions, guidelines, rules that has to be followed. Every single country has different rules, so you need to, well, to make it easiest, we take the most strict rules, follow that, and apply it to basically everything, just so we are on the safe side. Are they doing this on Temu and Temu?
No.
A combination there. Temu and Shein. I'm just like, it's not safe, to be honest. And especially for kids wear. I mean, think of all these like small parts that a small kid can put in a mouth. They can suffocate.
Like
and
buttons and rivets and, you know, snaps on buttons and really everything dangerous.
Like
the cords and things like that.
Yeah, and they're all like these rules for a reason.
And
like,
there's no testing for the residue of chemicals. And
don't want to talk about even the chemicals. It's so, I mean, it's you dark. Do your own choice for yourself. But I'm like, strongly, I will scream like, don't buy anything for the kids. I mean, it is dangerous, to be honest. It is who is keeping track of the safety issue. And you can wonder, well, why are there so many rules and safety regulation for kids wear? Well, because accidents have happened. And this is a really good thing also. If you have a garment and something does happen, like this is a dangerous situation or something, go back to that store, complain about it, because that's how companies get the information that, oh, we made a dangerous product here. We need to stop. We need to change it. This is how we also get like internal rules and regulations, like, okay, we need to make this even more stricter. So yeah, I mean, I worked with kids wear for 2 years, and it's like a Bible that you have to read. Everybody has to know it. Everybody has to follow it. It's not one person's, oh, they need to take care of it. No. It's everyone's responsibility. They have to be followed. So it's just like, it's making me so nervous, like when it's and as you say, like the chemicals, you don't even see that, but oh no, it pisses me up so bad. It's
really dark, and I don't know, it would be interesting to hear how this has been talked about in other countries. I would say, for instance, here in one of the biggest newspapers has done like a really good journalistic investigation on what happens. So, I mean, obviously, as you say, Malena, there's they do make more on demand, which could potentially limit the surplus. However, because of the very generous return policies, a lot of things are returned, and they not fit well, or maybe you're disappointed with the quality of the materials, all the things. And basically what happens is that these oftentimes do not end up in a new buyer's hands. They have a very intricate system, and the darkness of this is the fact that a lot of it ends up in landfills in very poor countries around, especially in Africa and in South America, and that's the end destination of the stuff that you return from these brand names that we have talked about now.
Because they are so cheap, it's not worth it for them to. It is going to cost them so much more to actually like put them back in the system, and so no, they are getting thrown away basically. And what really I hate is dropshipping companies who. I mean, there are dropshipping companies that are great, absolutely, but there are also these who make elaborate backstory about who we are, our values, blah blah blah, AI generated pictures on the website, and then it's basically a dropshipping that when you place an order with them, they buy it from Temu, sends it directly to you, and it's a scam basically. And it just, that is, I mean, it's fraud to be honest. It makes me so sad because like as a consumer, a customer, do you have to be an investigator to find out if this company is reliable to buy from? And we in the crafting industry who like try to make, I mean, if you make us sell garments, like how can we reach out if all the customers are getting drowned in these other crap companies? So this trend in general, like with dropshipping, you don't know where it's coming from, like this darkness is like, how is it possible that it happens? Because I thought we in the fashion industry were heading a little bit slowly in the right direction, and then this is like the worst backlash ever. You see how worked up I am about it.
Yeah, but I'm totally with you, and I'm sure you are listening are feeling the same way about this. And to bring back your point here, Malena, is the darkness that is everything a trend? For instance, that's why I sometimes feel when we talk about sustainability and environmental conscious and code of conducts, as you talk about that the companies you work for and other big companies are implementing, is that also a trend? So is it like, okay, now we've done environment conscious thing for a while, so let's do like fast mass production under appalling. Why not do that trend again? So that's the problem I feel sometimes. But I mean, I like to think sometimes that we as society, we take maybe 2 steps forward and 1 step back, but hopefully, I'm trying to be optimistic here, right? That we at least have taken 1 step forward, even though we did also take a step back. But overall, it's still 1 step forward. And I remember, there was a trend with, more sustainable fashion in the 90s as well. And a lot of like the big chain stores here in Sweden started doing like organic cotton. And then it kind of just disappeared. And then it came back. And now, it's more incorporated and on a larger scale using recycled fibers and everything like that. So that's just to give you an example of these waves, because I remember feeling that when I were able to buy like nice organic cotton underwear and things like that in the 90s, and then all of a sudden it was gone, and now it has come back, but with a bigger force, and it's more accessible. So that's just to give you an example of how I feel. Maybe we are taking like baby steps, but of course not in the speed that we need to do, right? I mean,
I
we
think
know
it is
what
that
we're talking about
these
here. Yeah,
companies, they are like giving these amazing low prices, and you can't resist. You have to try it out. I hope you realized when you received it, like the quality is so poor. I mean, it's used once or twice, then it's trash basically. Yeah, and we step away from them. I hope that's my hope.
I think, and also I think eventually, but it's a long time, but we will see more legislations that take on a global approach for this. But again, it's going to take a lot of time for sure. It's a struggle, but it's good. As I said, keep the conversation going. I think the target audiences are young people. I mean, we are obviously talking to you listening here. You're aware of all these things, but I mean, these brands are mainly, I would say the biggest customer base is probably like teenagers and young adults that, have their first disposable income. And of course, how can they know? I mean, obviously they can't. Yeah. And so, when the legislation is not in place, which unfortunately isn't right now, then it's understandable, because a lot of people are, they're not really aware. They target an audience that doesn't really perhaps understand all these things that we talk about right now. It takes, knowledge and.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No. Yeah. So no, this is like a very dark trend that I.
Yeah, we have a very dark trend. Yeah, we keep the light on. We will see light in the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Yeah. On the, like, I have to like calm myself down. Everything's fine. I'm an adult.
Take a deep breath. Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah. You're doing great.
Yeah. No, but another, not trend, but technology that I see is really also coming on strong. We have talked about it mentioned it several times, like programs like Clo 3D, AI as well, which is like those two are completely different, but both are like different tools that could be used in design. And I think if you are interested in starting to work in the design world, knowing these tools and how to use them, it can be really, really beneficial for you. And I mean, just to explain, like Clo 3D, then you like import your pattern, you sew up a garment using like different fabrics and everything, like different types of fabric. You sew it up, you try it on an avatar, like it's a virtual fitting session basically, or design session. Like you can create so many So Clo 3D, I highly recommend anyone who is interested in learning a very, to be honest, like it's such an advanced program, but it is really easy to learn and easy to grasp, and then you can, I work it on a daily basis with fitting garments and like trying out and see if my pattern is working, and showing to designer, is this what she like, do we need any changes or anything. But then you can also do, I know a lot of designers are doing like really detailed not avatars, but like garments, like they add on stitchings, zippers, buttons, like really, really nicely. I mean, you can decide so many things there, like how thick should the thread be on the stitching, how stitch length, like everything down to the details, and colors and everything. And then you can create like color samples basically, and see and have those in meetings instead of you need actual garments. So you can show like different variation, try out prints on the fabrics. Like you can do so many things in that program. So you don't have to, because we want to reduce the amount of samples that we do in the product development stage. You always have to have some fitting samples, definitely, but you can get to the right fit more quickly. And again, like color samples for meetings, presentations, those you can have just pictures of. So I believe this is just going to be bigger and stronger.
Yeah, I agree with you. And so Chloe also has a pretty nice price tag. It's actually accessible, even if you're not like a big fashion company and compared to other programs. Because we talked a little bit about this before we start recording as well, because I looked a little bit into AI and what that could mean. And I guess it's not accessible right now, but I can feel that in the future you will probably able to like combine the capabilities of a 3D visualize program as the Clo and AI. So you could basically write a prompt, for instance, and tell it how to do everything, and then it can also like spit out a sewing pattern with your personal measurements, for instance. And I think is probably where we're going to be. I did a search this morning, and clearly, it came as just a search of how to make sewing pattern AI. So clearly, a lot of people are wishing and hoping for this, because I mean, imagine the situation where you could maybe just upload a photo from the catwalk for a pair of barrel jeans, for instance, if you want to do that, and your measurements, and then the AI combined with a program like Clo will visualize it, and then you can tweak it, say no, move the make the pockets a little bit deeper, like almost the way you would do when you develop a sewing pattern or a garment. Oh no, move that seam a little bit down, or raise the waistline for a couple of centimeters and things like that. So you basically just tell the AI, and then you see the result. And I think it's going to be pretty revolutionary. But still, I think we're a long way of actually this being a reality. So far I've not been able to locate any sewing pattern program that uses AI that can do this for us, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, but it's so interesting with AI. It's gonna be great tools for the futures, I think. I have not worked with any AI when it comes to design, like the process, but I mean, it is a great way to get images, change up images in the developing process. I mean, it's not going to be as easy as give me 25-piece collection for next season and it's going to create it. Like, no, you have to do a little bit work yourself as well. Just like creating images for like inspiration images, or to see how this print is going to look, or change the direction of the check played and see how that is going to look then, and like those kind of things is going to get a visual view of the design. I think it's going to be huge in the future. But I always have this in the back of my mind when we talk about AI and how smart it is. It was a football match, like soccer, European football, and AI was supposed to follow the football during the whole match, like camera following the football. It mistook the bald referee. Do you say that? The judge. He was bald, and the AI mistook him.
His head was bald, yeah. No
It
hair on
mistook
his
him
head.
as the football, so he was following him during the whole match, not the football. So I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be a while until the AI takes over the world. It's like the humans are still gonna be needed, I think.
Yeah.
So shit can happen.
Yeah, totally. It has a lot of learning for sure. I mean, because we were just in the baby phase, like the embryo of something. But I think it's going to be really interesting to follow and see, when and where and how it's going to be used on a bigger scale and in our sewing community as well. So if you have any experience using AI for anything sewing related, I mean, you could of course do like fabric prints with a lot of AI services. You can get like, if you want to do your own fabric print, you can tell the AI and it's going to be repeatable patterns and create that using text prompts or inspiration images. So, already right now there is things available for us who like to be creative with fabrics for sure. And you can also do like technical like tech packs where you show all the things that are required and for technical illustrations for making a garment. And I think it's going to be fun to play around with for sure. I mean, but yeah, it's still very very much early stages, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on. I mean, I think as with lots of things here, it's pretty scary and also like really exciting. I think that's the position I'm holding on AI. I'm both like keen on starting using it more, and I'm also a little bit scared.
Yeah, no, I heard, and I thought I have like took this to heart. I don't remember who and in what context this was, but use AI as your intern or assistant. Like it is great to, I mean, just for example, yesterday I used a ChatGPT to like, what are hashtags to use in the sewing community when I create an Instagram post? Search for like what hashtag should I use? I'm a small brand, so I can't use the biggest hashtags because my content will be drowned in all the hashtags then. So search for hashtags that has under 10,000, like been used under 10,000 times. And it came up a great list, and like those kind of things. But I mean, you have to be very precise. You have to know exactly what you ask to get that correct answer. So it's and I use it so much also for spell checking, and my favorite like thing to ask, is this proper English when I write anything?
Yeah, that's the question we ask ourselves a lot here in Sweden when we're doing our sewing content. And you do also maybe you in your day or in your job as well, because it's you work in English, right, when you work for H&M. It's tricky.
So then it's a great help. But I mean, obviously sometimes when I've asked also things, it's like, is this really correct? Oh no, sorry, it's this and this. Is it really correct? Oh no, sorry, it's this and this. And it's like, it always sounds so confident, and I was like, no, but you're wrong. No, that's not it. Yeah. So never. It's a junior assistant intern. Don't trust it completely. Like you have to do
it needs your supervising and approving the end result. So I think I'm going to finish off this episode speaking of AI and the fact that I'm doing my video course now. I use Adobe Premiere to edit the videos, and they have now rolled out transcription service, so you can actually do your own captions. And I will of course add captions to the video course. Last time I did it, I used the service. I think they used AI a lot as well and just did some manual. But anyways, now I've gone full AI on this and I'm doing it myself. And wow, sewing is not the AI specialty.
It has not been trained on sewing dictionaries.
And it refuses to learn when it's a repeat offense system. And I am absolutely it's very very annoying. So
like, give us examples. What are they?
I'm going to give you some really fun examples. Now, if you sew, you probably know what bar tacks are. Those are the narrow zigzag stitch that you use to secure seams on jeans and things like that. But of course, bar tacks, that doesn't exist in the AI world. Instead, it keeps on insisting that I mean Botox. the stuff that you put in your forehead to reduce wrinkles and migraines. And I change it to bar tax, then I translate another chapter, and it says I'm talking about Botox, and I'm not. I'm talking about bar tax. Bar tax. How hard can it be? That's one example. And another, okay, understandably, okay, it's more of a niche word, but I will argue that the word presserfoot and presserfeet, that is not that strange, right? Well, according to the AI, that tool that we all use to sew doesn't exist. Instead, it says that I am saying press the food. Okay, arguably my English pronunciation is perhaps not top notch, and I understand sometimes sometimes I say so wrong. I mean, it's just difficult for us in Sweden. But yeah, also of course, that's more understandable. Yoke, I mean, what we do, yoke on jeans or a blouse. Of course, they think I'm talking about a joke with a J first, and
like
again,
a funny
refuse. Yeah, so my captions are full of not so funny jokes.
Yeah.
So yeah, to bring back your point, Malena, I think the AI translation function in my video editing program is definitely, it's a very, very junior assistant. I mean,
I mean, I saw a joke about this, that when you write it yourself and then you have to do half an hour of correcting your own mistake or proofreading or whatever, now you get it done in a minute with AI, but then you have to proofread it like 11 hours instead to get all of these small kind of hiccups. So I don't know what's best in the end. I don't know.
Yeah, it does. You does bring up a great point, and I will say though that it's been my experience so far. Trying to get it. We'll see. I translated, I think, 25 videos now, transcribed and made captions, and it's still a struggle for it. I have no idea why it's so hard. Apparently, it's impossible. I mean, we all understand these things, but
yeah, but it's funny, like it doesn't recognize any of the. I mean, they are basically like regular English words. Like how can they not know them? But yeah, I mean, also with autocorrect in any regular computer like program. My designer, when she wrote pointelle holes on a knitted sweater, it autocorrected her to pointless holes. I'm like, autocorrect, you're a little bit offensive right now. Those holes do have a point, okay? They're very decorative, but whatever.
Yeah, so funny. I bet the AI would do the same interpretation if I said that word in one of my videos.
But those are pointless. No need.
Yeah, pointless holes. Yeah, maybe they are pretty pointless. I mean, why do that as well? Maybe it was questioning the whole concept of pointelle knit. Why do you buy fabrics that has pre-made holes? I mean, what's the point, right? Yeah, maybe it's onto something.
maybe.
Oh, anyways, this became a long episode. We were all over the place, but hopefully,
but that's the trend as well. It's all over the place.
All over the place. There's no one trend, just like we are. We're all over the place.
So true.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to sum it up, Malena. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and if you want to see images on what we talk about, we're definitely going to post that on our Instagram account, stitchingtalespod, and you can also watch us wearing stripes and see Malena's wonderful new, which is featured, the Tauco magazine. Malena's holding up again. You want to see that? You should definitely watch the video version of this podcast, which is available on our YouTube channel, Stitching Tales Pod.
And give us comments. What do you think?
Yeah.
Dear listeners, what are your trends? What are you looking forward to? What do you wish goes away pretty quickly? And where do you stand on skinny jeans and not? Are you a fan,
we'd love to hear that.
Do you prefer the more straight flared legs? We are interested.
We are definitely interested. I will add, if you listen to Spotify, I will add a poll where you can also vote versus skinny leg versus wide leg jeans.
I can do the same on Instagram.
Yeah, do that. That will be awesome. And also, if you want to leave comments, if you're listening to the podcast on Spotify, I want to say that you're able to leave comments now on each episode, and some of you do, which we love. So keep those comments coming, so you don't even have to leave the app if you're using Spotify. I think that's probably the only app that you can do that right now. But yeah, it's a place as well to keep the discussion going.
Great. It's been, looking forward to this year. So many exciting things.
Yeah, 2025. Here we come. Okay. Thank you so much for listening. I am Johanna Lundström.
And I am Malena Hjerpe. Bye.
Bye-bye.